No, hi Dave, how are you doing today?
All right, Aaron, I'm doing
Well,
good.
if there's any viewers out there watching, you may notice we're down a person. Our lovely, talented Ginny was having some troubles connecting today, so she's going to sit this one out. So you're stuck with Dave and I for the next few minutes. What do we want to talk about today, Dave?
We're going to talk about what is VoIP.
Ooh, what a good topic. VoIP. VoIP is an acronym for Voice over Internet Protocol. It's been around for a while now, but you're seeing a large influx and or movement from small to medium-sized businesses to VoIP phone systems. A number of reasons why: ease of use, cost efficiencies, features. Has a feature set for some of the bigger, more well-rounded phone systems. Very flexible. VoIP systems can go into just about any type of business you could think of. They have some advanced features like mobility or unified communications, texting, things like that, that make it such a better experience on a communication level for the businesses and for their clients.
A couple of the, just off the top of my head, um, benefits are we have several larger customers who have multiple branches.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you're having training at your Escanaba branch today, you just forward all your calls to another one. And a lot of times people don't even know that they're not talking to, a local branch, and they can get their issues taken care of. Um, Features, lots of features. Um, like you said, faxing and texting, etc. Um,
Call
and
handling. So if
yep,
they have a VoIP system and they wanted to set it up to ring both their desk phone and their mobile phone, easily to do. Um, some of the other neat ones too. During the COVID, we were able to provide our DS Tech, and I'm sure other VoIP providers out there were able to work with our clients and make the remote working experience a little more manageable by having a VoIP phone system that can accommodate changing environment. And then as things kind of came back together, we were able to kind of to redesign or redo their system so that they can ring phones again. But because of that, we've got a lot of hybrids out there now where people are still working remotely and then they're coming into the office too. So a VoIP system is great for that flexibility.
right. We did a lot of, I believe, Aaron, um, people went home to work and their business phones rang their cell phones.
Yep.
You had that option, or else, like some of our people, our employees just take a phone home and plug it into their home network. It's functionally a computer, like like you have at home. You go online, and it's not a, um, it's not unlike your tablet or whatever. It's just another network node, and it just goes out on the VoIP side of the internet,
Yep.
and pretty simple.
One of the cool trends that we've seen over the last 10 to 15 years, probably more recently 5 years, is this kind of a movement. Uh, Gone are the days of the major telco companies, your big conglomerate telco providers. What we're seeing is kind of a reapproach back to local uh, supported service providers. So within our area, there's a couple, and they support smaller populations. They're not so big and bureaucratic that you can't get support through them anymore. Um, so we're seeing a lot of businesses choose to go local with their phone service and support.
One of the other things we can talk about quickly is money. You're in business, you want to save money. Um, the two things that pop up in my head is, as Jenny's jumping in here, you don't pay for, I have 786, 1234, 1234, 1235, 1236, and you pay so much per month
Yep.
plus long distance. Um, Generally, your long distance bills and your individual phone number bills are wiped out, and you're not limited to like 2 lines, right?
Yep.
You there's almost an unlimited number of, the third phone call in doesn't get a busy signal. It rings through.
Yep, I'll speak to that real quick. I'll give you a couple of examples. A few years back, we helped one of our clients transition their branches. They were a financial institute, and we transitioned their branches to one consolidated phone system. During that process, we had to move all the phone services from the other branches onto the consolidated phone server. That process saved this particular client upwards of $2,000 monthly on their phone bill. So by consolidating the service to all the branches into one plan, shared call paths, shared everything, shared minutes, shared long distance, we were able to save them $2,000. And let me tell you, when you tell a banker or a financial person you're going to save them money like that, they almost fall off their chair. So that was one example. And then to talk to Dave's point is the long gone are the days of the lines, line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, fifth call, you get a busy signal. With VoIP phone traffic, it's over the internet, so there's no physical line connection any longer. So with the VoIP system, you could have 5, 6, 7, 8 calls. And just a real quick example there, we helped another client transition from a analog older phone system to a newer VoIP system, and their call volume tripled. So the reasoning I said to the client, because they said, oh gosh, you got to make our phone stop ringing. It's just so much. I said, well, if you attach $1 to every one of those phone calls, would you rather have them ringing or would you rather not have them ringing?
Right.
She'd rather have them ringing.
So a lot of this is kind of difficult to understand the concept, and it's all on the internet and everything, but trust us, it works. Aaron's been doing this for 5 years, I believe, and DS Tech has been doing it for a lot longer than that. It's kind of magical. One other point I want to bring up quickly, and then we're going to talk about security and they're not ideal like everything else. One of the biggest problems that a lot of businesses have is they haven't changed their phone system in 20 years, and that phone system is going to be hard to find parts for. We had a customer call from, was it the Sioux? Their old phone system just died on them, and they don't make them anymore, and it's kind of in the IT industry, you can buy a part for a 1961 Chevy, but to find parts for a 10-year-old computer, that's not something people stock anymore because the technology has just moved so fast. So this is a way to keep up with the times.
Yeah, I 110% agree, Dave. We see it all the time. We see, phone systems transition, with the newer VoIP services, it's all internet portal based. So you're not restricted to having to be on site to make any changes to that system. They're not physical servers on site any longer. They're cloud based. So making any kind of changes to them, real easy, flexible. End users, clients can actually log into their own portals and make changes if they're comfortable enough with it, which is great.
So we've sang the praises of VoIP. There is obviously and always with anything, not everything is perfect. As we speak right now, there's an issue in Marquette. The company called Bandwidth that handles a lot of voice traffic, I believe, right? Has lost a device, has failed on them. And so across the UP, certainly people are experiencing issues with AT&T phones. Now, that's not necessarily a VoIP issue, but it kind of points to the fact that you're kind of at the mercy of the internet, So
right. To that point, Dave, so any phone system, regardless of who supports and services it, is limited by the connectivity of the carriers. So when I pick up my phone here and dial a phone number, that call hops along a path to the end, and all those hops may encompass 2 or 3 different carriers. There's a lot of transactions going on with that call, and it all happens in real time. So what we're seeing is the handoff between 2 carriers, Bandwidth and AT&T, had been disrupted due to an equipment failure, which is upstream from our service, but because it is upstream, it flows downstream in our end users' clients. And it's not just limited to DS Tech. These are other businesses throughout the UP that has nothing to do with DS Tech clients are also affected by this negatively. They are, last I spoke to the support team, they are working on it to replace that piece of equipment, and that's the idea.
Well, Ginny said that got a little too technical for her. So I'm going to try and simplify it a little bit. Gone are the days when you picked up the phone at your home or your business and you were a Ma Bell customer and you called your cousin in California on Michigan Bell or Bell System long lines, and then you hit a central office in Sacramento, California, and they dialed, and your cousin's phone number rang, and everything was all within the Bell system.
Hello.
You know, it was all Bell system. Now, like you said, you get on your phone, you know, and I have AT&T for my service of my cell phone, and I have an Apple phone. But when I call someone, say my daughter in Minneapolis, it's going to go from AT&T here to maybe broadband to Minneapolis is going to have another carrier, and there's a lot of points of failure. So that's something you have to understand. And it's like you said, you know, nothing's 100% foolproof. You can run into something like they had in Texas where the state had, you know, large chunks of the state had no power. Guess what? They didn't have phone. I don't care what kind of phone you had.
Right. And to kind of expand upon that a little bit too is one thing to keep in mind. You know, we're located in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. There's not a lot of fiber build out. I mean, it's here and it's in major thoroughways, but it's not Chicago, it's not Milwaukee, it's not Detroit, where there's prevalent fiber build out to that last mile.
And multiple options for internet.
The grid isn't there. I mean, it's there, but it's bare.
Right.
So as time and more high-speed internet gets built out, it's certainly going to be a better place for VoIP services, definitely. So, and I kind of chuckle sometimes when I tell clients and they call me and I say, hey, you know, we live in the UP, the wind blows out of the north, and I don't know what goes on.
Well, when we were 20 some years ago, we had a lot of dial-up customers, and when we had a hard rain, I would get calls from our dial-up customers who lived out in the country, Cornell or wherever, that their telephone lines that they used for dial-up internet got wet, that were buried there in 1947, right? I would guarantee I would get 10 calls and say, my internet's slow. So it's, you know, there's no escaping it. You're going to have issues no matter what. So one of the other things we're going to talk about is security, but I don't know, should we save that for like VoIP issues of security? Should we save that for next week?
Either way is fine. I mean, the only two that I would bring up would be international toll fraud and denial of service, which would be the two big ones. But we can talk about those next week too.
Yeah, that sounds like a good topic for next week. All right.
Yeah.
That's our show for today, folks. We're going to have to trust.
Jen wants us to point out
Yep.
Free security assessment.
It's underneath me right now for where I am at.
Yep.
Free security assessments. It's something that can, your phone systems
Mhm.
included. Right? You have to think about security, about your phone system too. Some of the websites I went on, they talked about hacking into your voicemail and overhearing your conversations. We're more, keeping people from attacking your business network through your cell phone or your phone system. So we'll talk about that next week.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave.
All right. Glad you made it back, Aaron, or I'd have been
Thanks, Aaron.
flying solo today.
I did my best to get back in time.
All right.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
See ya.